Hi everyone. I just wanted to take this opportunity now that we have completed Unit 1 of the BTEC Sport course to give you an opportunity of updates as to where we are on the course and a reminder how the assessment works and the approach that we'll be taking as we move forward between now and the rest of the summer. So I've got a PowerPoint presentation just to share with you in order to help yourself at home and the students to be able to be successful in completing all of the coursework element now of the course as we move from Year 10 into Year 11. And of course the coursework side of this BTEC Sport course so far is something completely new to the students as opposed to the practical and the theory work that we've been doing and practicing for the online screen test in Unit 4 up until Wednesday the 9th of February. So I put this video together in order to enable you to know how the course is going to be assessed from now on, how to access resources from home, and how the ongoing assessment of coursework is crucial now to the success of each student in order to hopefully secure the level 2 pass by this time next year as we get close in Year 11 to approaching their GCSEs. Okay, so I'm about to share with you now my presentation that I have here. So, as I said, this is a course update now as we approach Unit 2, having successfully completed our Unit 1 for most learners. So the aim is just to enable you to know the remaining journey for Year 10, to know how Units 1, 2 and 3 link together, and to know how to complete work at home and at school, and the importance of meeting deadlines, completion of homework and having good attendance. So I'm really pleased to say that with the students all having had 3 practice opportunities at the online screen test, via written test papers, that it's really clear to see that they really began to improve their subject knowledge and understanding of the content of the questions and be able to improve the way that they responded in their written answers. So that's really evident and clear to see, and I have all that tracked and monitored in a spreadsheet. Results have now arrived. I gave those to the students Wednesday, and I'm really pleased to see that the good majority of those students will be pleased with their test result. There are some students who haven't done as well as they would have expected. So what I plan to do between now and May is to ensure that there are some revision opportunities for those students set aside, be it after school will be more than likely the best opportunity that we can do that for an hour at a time, so that those students can feel more confident as they retake that test around May. I want to do it this year in Year 10 in order that everything that we've learned so far since September is more fresh than holding off and waiting to do it after the summer holidays and when we come back when they're in Year 11. So there will be more information to follow for those specific students who haven't quite achieved the grade that they were hoping for, so that they can work towards that between now and May. Okay, so Units 1, 2 and 3 are what we call the core units. And it's going to be really important that I remind you of those 3 core units when it comes to the students' grading and how that impacts upon their future grades as we go through the course. So Unit 1 is the unit that we've successfully, the majority of people, just completed, which has looked at components of fitness, training methods and fitness testing. Currently the students are now starting Unit 2, which is all coursework orientated. They have booklets to complete around the rules, regulations and scoring systems, tactics and techniques for 2 sports, one being a sport of their choice, which will either be basketball, netball or football that they're working on, and the other booklet is rounders. What's really important about one of the three sports, basketball, football and netball, is that when we come back in year 11 and they start unit 3, they will choose to design a training program based upon either the sport football, basketball or netball that they chose to base their booklet around, and their research on the rules and regulations, scoring systems, tactics and techniques, so that they can, after Easter, be recorded practically performing those sports and performing them in isolation, condition practices and competitive practices, so that based upon the video evidence that will be used to record them performing those sports between now and the end of the summer in year 10, they can look at how well they performed to enable them to perform a training program based upon how they could improve one component of fitness for that training program in year 11, and linking that back to unit 1 based upon all the information that they gained about suitable training methods for a given component of fitness that they choose, and how to test their level of fitness at the start of the training program, midway through the training program, at the end, to see if when they actually perform their training program, have they made the necessary gains in fitness for that one component of fitness, to determine if their training program's been successful. So that's a kind of guide as to how all 3 units are linked together as we continue to move forward. When we've completed unit 3 around Christmas time of year 11, in the new year they will then start the one optional unit, which is leading sports activities, which is not necessarily linked to either one of those 3 core units, but just an added extra which will enable them to learn about all the attributes of sports leadership. They will then practically get the opportunity to lead a sports activity based upon one of the 2 sports sessions that they plan, and then they will finally review how well that training session went, which was recorded, normally where they're leading their peers. All right, so again, here is just the breakdown of the 4 units that are studied, with the 3 core there mentioned. We call unit 3 a synoptic unit because it links directly to units 1 and 2, and there is unit 6 that stands alone as one of these 3 optional units that we choose. We generally choose the leadership unit, as mentioned before, purely because a lot of students have had opportunities to lead primary school students in a number of sporting events here at King Arthur's over their time in Key Stage 3. Here, this table just gives us a reminder of the breakdown of GCSE equivalent grading against the BTEC sport grading. So as mentioned before, we want all of our students to be aiming for the level 2 pass, which is the equivalent to a grade 4 at GCSE, and you can see that the merit distinction and distinction star have the GCSE equivalents over in this column on the right hand side. Finally, this is here in this table an idea of what the point score is for every unit achieved at either the level 1 pass through to a distinction, and you can see that overall for BTEC, in order to achieve the level 1 pass right through to the distinction, the students have to have accumulated all of these total point scorings all together. Now, what's really important to mention is that in order for a student to achieve a level 1 pass across the course, they must have achieved a maximum of 12 points across all 3 core units, units 1, 2 and 3. In order for the students to achieve a level 2 pass, they must have achieved 24 points across all 3 core units. What's really important to point out here is that for some students where the online screen test so far has been difficult and challenging, and some of those students may have achieved so far, unfortunately, an unclassified score, meaning that they've technically scored 0 points at this stage of the course. But if on a second attempt in May of this summer that was the same unsuccessful outcome for them, that they would just need to ensure, in order to get the level 1 pass overall, that they've got at least 12 points across units 2 and 3, or for those going for a level 2 pass based upon their target grade, that in unit 2 and in unit 3 that they get at least the level 2 pass. So there is options to do that. I'm just going to show you now what the grade calculator that we use looks like. So, for example, in that given scenario, as I just mentioned, if a student were to get a unclassified in a second attempt on their online screen test, so long as they get the level 2 pass in both units 2 and 3, I'll just move that along so you can see the numbers and the titles of those units. Where, unfortunately, if they were to only achieve the level 2 pass from the unit 6, the optional unit, they will have enough points here, 36 and a level 1 pass overall, to still achieve a level 1 grade at the end of the course. All right, so it's just really important, however, that they get in total 12 points, at least 12 points across the core units of Unit 1 and 2. They can still achieve the 6 points here for the apologies. They can still achieve the 6 points which across the 2 units, which in total gives them 12, and achieve the level 2 pass in the leading sports activities to qualify for a level 1 pass overall. Okay, so I'm going to email a copy of this grade calculator so you as a parent can just monitor and see, depending on how a student performs in school and what grade that they get as each unit is achieved, how they can ensure that they are still on track and change any particular unit's grades by having to maybe bump up the level of what they've achieved in order to stay on track. So a typical example might just be that a child is expected to achieve a level 2 pass across the 2 years. Unfortunately, the best score that they can get is a level 1 pass from Unit 1, and that means therefore that in order to reach 48 points here overall, that they need to be working at a level 2 pass in this current unit that we're doing in Unit 2, the same in Unit 3 when they come to design their training program. And you can see now, currently, the student hasn't achieved enough points here overall to achieve a level 2 pass. So it means that later on at some point in the course, they would have to bump up their grade in another unit by achieving a merit here in the Unit 6 in order to get the level 2 pass overall. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that. I'm just going to show you the grade boundaries very quickly by going back to the PowerPoint here. So yes, that confirms what I showed you earlier on the grade calculator, where a student had only achieved an unclassified in the online screen test for the Unit 1, so they got no points, but they then achieved 6 points from both Units 2 and 3, and then they achieved a level 2 pass in the optional unit, the sports leading activities unit, to achieve 24 across the board, which would enable them to achieve the level 1 pass. Okay, so I hope that makes sense for you as a parent looking at the breakdown of the units, the point system over here for each unit, and how you need to achieve a certain amount of points overall to achieve either the level 1 pass right through to the distinction overall. I'm going to move. I've shown you this before, so I'm not going to talk through that at this moment in time. I'm just going to check the resource. What I'm going to show you now as a parent is the task folder. So that's not this one here. Right. When students are in school, they have access not only to their own folder like I do in school. This is my workspace where I have all of my work that I complete in school as folders like you see here. But tasks folder here, or the K drive as it's known, is a folder that both students and students can access. So it enables them to be able to access the work that the teacher has uploaded for the students to work from in school. So I've created this folder here, BTEC Sport 2018-19, and the students go into it. We're currently working on Unit 2, and this is our year group. We started in September 2021 and we're finished next summer in 2023. So I've started to put resources specifically for our cohort of learners in this folder here. So we're currently on assignment 1, and each lesson I put all of the PowerPoints in here, so you can see date modified that this was the most recent PowerPoint that the students access. I have this on the screen in front of me in the classroom, and then the students can go in once I've talked through the PowerPoint, and then they can go back through and access it and have it on their computer in front of them as well. If I just go back here, writing frames are all of the templates that the students can work through. So some are aimed at level 1 learners, some are aimed at level 2 learners. So if I just load up this basketball booklet at level 2 pass, what the students are currently doing now is, here's all the grading criteria that they need to meet for assignment 1. And as they scroll through this booklet, there's lots of prompting questions that ensures them that what they need to do is put all of their answers to the question in this box here, this text box here. And of course, within each PowerPoint for every lesson, I will provide them with links to web addresses where they can find specifically information to these questions. So most recently, if I scroll right down the booklet, they've been working on, first of all, what are the roles of the different officials in basketball? So they fill in the boxes here, and then when they've done the roles, they move on to the responsibilities. So they fill in, well, what does the appearance of a basketball official look like? What would their fitness levels need to be? What equipment do they need when they are on court making decisions on the play that's happening in front of them? So if I just go back to that PowerPoint in the K drive, if I go into assignment 1, roles of officials, you can see their title, roles of officials. So I'm going to click on this one, and what the students will have is, what are we learning today? What do we need to complete? And on slide 4 here, you'll see the links that relate to the sports that they're doing their booklet on. So this one relates to football, the fa.com. So the students would click on, they would click on that link there to be able to find those that specific football website. Here's 2 for netball, and here's one for basketball. So the students have access to PowerPoints, they have access to some previous students' examples of work just for a guide, and they also have access to to the writing frame that they need to complete their work on. Now, what's really helpful for the students is that they also have access to their work at home that's in school, and I want to show you how there's a number of ways in which they can do that now, using either folders or OneDrive. So I'm going to show you now as a parent where your child can access that. So, when students are at home and they have access to the internet, they can use the school intranet as a starting point, and they can do that one of two ways. They can either go via King Arthur's school website, so they can, if I type in here King Arthur's school, they can at home, yep, I do mean that one, they can access King Arthur's school website. And to do that, what they do is, so they've got the school website in front of them. If they go to menu and go to learning, at the bottom here, they have here, intranet. So if they click on the intranet, what they should see load up in front of them it's a bit slow. It's slower probably because I'm in school loading it up where it already recognises that I have access to it. What the students will have is Student Portal. So when you click on Student Portal, you have access now to two options, either Office 365 or folders. Now, students can access their work one of two ways. They can either access folders, so I've already got this loaded up here on this tab, so I'm just going to show you. So they would click on that. Now when they're at home, this is what their screen will look like. It may ask them to log in for the first time with their school username and login details. When they go to Home folder, what they'll be able to do is they'll be able to access their folder, which is their H drive. So they have all of their folders here, and then they'll also have documents. Sorry if that seems very quick as I'm scrolling through on this video as it arrives. So what they'll be able to do is, if here's a BTEC document that I've already got, they don't want to download it, because if they download it, it means that they have to work on it at home and then save it and then upload it back. If you don't have Microsoft Office at home, you can just edit it with Microsoft Office 365 here. So that's what I'm going to do. So what will happen is when you click on that, the document in time will load up, and the students will be able to then continue to edit that work like so, like I'm doing, and then they'll just be able to save it. And they can just save it as, and save a copy. They can save a copy online, or they can download a copy. I'm just going to check one thing, first of all, because I have access. I'm just going to discard those changes. If I edit that now with Microsoft Office, because I have Microsoft Office at school and at home, what I'm expecting is that, perfect. This little save icon here, I've taken the middle option of just editing it with and saving it with Microsoft Office, because I have access to that at home. All I have to do is click on this little save icon and it will automatically save it at home. Okay, so the students have a number of options there. First of all, they can either edit it with Microsoft Office if they don't have Microsoft Office at home, or if you have Microsoft Office at home, you can just edit it with Microsoft Office and automatically save it here, and it will save straight back at school. Now the final option is, if I go back to the other option, is when students click on Office 365 here, they will get this page. And again, students have access to all of the apps via Microsoft 365 to save their work. But what I would strongly recommend is that the students at home save their work to OneDrive in school. Okay, so when you use OneDrive, you will have all of your folders here already saved from school. But what the students have to do in school, if they're going to use OneDrive, is when they're in school, all they have to do is access Microsoft 365, and then they need to, so I'll just go back to the student portal. They have to, in Microsoft 365 and using OneDrive, they have to upload their work first of all. So if I upload a file, if I chose any file, let's just say I chose my list of many things to do that is endless and always ongoing in school. Let's just say I did that, for example. I open that. What the students will see in school is now when they're in school that they've uploaded their work, so that when they go and load up Microsoft Office 365 from home using the student portal, already when they go into Office 365 and they click in here, that they should see that the folder is already uploaded. Okay, now I know it doesn't appear there for me, but I know if I just hopefully go into this one here, modified, newer to older. Okay, it's not there right this second. I think this is purely because I'm in school, but the folder should be there. Okay, so the students have two options: either to use OneDrive from school and upload their work, access OneDrive from home, and then continue to work on their assignment from home, or use a folder, as I've shown just before. So I hope that really helps. But they can also access the K drive using folders as well. So I'm just going to click on that. Just if I go back to my files, you can see there's the K drive there that the students can also access at home as well. There's that folder there that I showed you in the PowerPoint. So we're almost there. I'm just going to go back, not to that PowerPoint, to this BTEC PowerPoint that I'm sharing with you. I just want to come back to this point, which is a bit of a summary from the PowerPoint that I showed you before, and that's just how important it is now that the students really understand that whilst we have 5 lessons a fortnight, it's absolutely essential that they arrive at the lesson on time, that they give nothing but 100% focus and effort. I think most of the students are going to like this opportunity to work independently now in the classroom, having access to the resources and the material that I provide them with each lesson. So they've really got all that material at their disposal. It's just about them now, really coming with the right mindset to work independently and ask for help where they need it. Soon we'll be doing practical lessons, so they will need their PE kit, and that's going to be really important, because if they don't have their PE kit, of course they can borrow kit, but it just means that if they're organised, we can just get on with the practical and have the evidence that we're going to need of them performing as practical performers. Homework is still regular, so I'll be putting it on Google Classroom. I'll continue to email you as a parent with the deadline and exactly the template or the work that is required of them for the following week. But it's all there now for the students to play for, all right? And this is the way that we'll be moving forward, coursework orientated for the remainder of this year, the training program with Unit 3 when we come back in Year 11, and after Easter next year, after Christmas next year, sort of February half term, we'll be starting the final unit, the sports leader unit. I will endeavour to keep you up to speed with the course via email. I just felt at this point now, whilst we've completed Unit 1, the online screening test, with some students who've managed to get the grade that they were expecting to meet their target grades, they can continue now to focus all their efforts on their coursework. Others between now and then can take advantage of some extra catch-up revision sessions in order to retake their test in May, and keeping their fingers crossed for them that they will get the expected grade that they need. But to give you an insight as to how your child now can complete coursework at home and in school, and so that you are aware of where we're at with the learning, and most importantly with the ongoing assessment and how all the points work together in order to ensure that minimum students for a level 1 pass get 24, and for those for a level 2 pass onwards get the 48, 66 and so forth in order to get the level 2 pass merit and distinction. Please don't hesitate to get in touch with me in the future regarding any information as to where your child is or how they can access their work from home. I'm always on the end of an email or a call at the end of a school day. Okay, many thanks. I appreciate you taking the time to watch these videos and benefit as much from possible as to my guidance. Okay, many thanks.